Welcome. I am Martheus. There are 8 dimensions to existence. Einstein revolutionized our way of thinking about the world by recognizing time as the 4th dimension. So the overwhelming opinion in society today is that there are 4 dimensions. But I think they are missing the forest for the trees. Early in my schooling, I grasped the 4-dimension concept, but as I grew older, I found it unsatisfactory. There was so much that was unexplained and unknown. I was certain there must be other dimensions. I explored many independent theories I found on the internet, but all of them were mathematical and not conceptual or useful in any practicality. So then I began to tally up all the things that I was certain existed, but were not physical nor time-dependent. What is a dream? What is an idea? What is language? What are spirits? What is good and bad? What is math? If you want to brush these questions off and say, Martheus, these are just concepts, my response to you is, what is a concept? It is not three-dimensional, and it is not dependent on time. I believe that I am the first person to come up with this particular notion of there being 8 dimensions to all of existence. Not more, not less. The first 4 are centered around physicality, while the second 4 are more ethereal or spiritual. Curiously, there are 8 planets in our solar system, the first 4 being solid, physical, and the second 4 being gas, ethereal. Also worthy of remark is that there are 8 notes in an octave. My best attempt at describing the 8 dimensions concept would be that it is a type of filter application for the mind that helps categorize the previously uncategorized intangibles we all experience. So I introduce to the world the other half of our humanity, the other 4 dimensions. Consciousness, consensus reality, the imagination, the ecology of souls, the 8 dimensions of existence, the 0 dimension. By picking up the discussion of dimension, one immediately invokes a location or focus. This location or point of focus has no dimension to speak of, no length, no width, no height, but it is the place or idea in the arena that houses the 8 dimensions of existence. The joining of 2 focus points gives us our first dimension, length. One dimension is easily imagined as the simplest of all constructs, a straight line. The second dimension. Taking 2 straight lines and putting them in any way tangential gives us our second dimension, width. The 2-dimensional world is imagined as completely flat. Triangles, squares, circles, pentagons, etc. are the property of this dimension. They do not technically exist in our consensus world. These constructs of the mind are the building blocks for the tangible, consensus 3-dimensional world, which is where things get interesting. The third dimension. Everything we call real is 3-dimensional. It is here that solid objects define our tangible experiences, and all of the objects of our world have 3 dimensions, length, width, and height. Trion rays, the simplest object possible, as well as the platonic solids tetrahedrons, cubes, spheres, polyhedrons, etc., all have these 3 dimensions, as do we and everything else. In fact, everything in our consensus real world is 3-dimensional. Anything you can tangibly touch or physically engineer is founded on this bedrock understanding. But not all 3-dimensional objects are the same. Some of these objects, while foundationally rooted in the 3 dimensions, are actually 4-dimensional. These are the things that are alive. The 4th dimension, time. All living things are 4-dimensional. Animals, plants, and fungi are all alive and are thus embedded into time. Time causes 3-dimensional things to change at every instant. Living things need to be frozen into time to be 3-dimensional. The difference between a man and an object, say a rock, is that at each moment of time the man's body assumes a new configuration. Not so for a rock. Only living things are riding in a one-directional river of time. Always flowing forward, all living things are trapped in its inescapable current. This is the fall that humanity was cast into after eating of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. We had to play/experience the Gego bite-sized program that is human history in order to truly understand duality as represented by good and evil. The fifth dimension, consciousness. You are not your career, your bank account, your possessions, nor are you your body. You, the conscious entity listening to this information, is the thing that dreams. Your ego, soul, imagination, mind, thoughts. It is everything about you that can't be measured or quantified. It is that which makes you identifiably unique. It decides what music sounds good, who you think is attractive. It's the thing that gets hurt in a breakup. The thinking self is the fifth dimension. It is what is driving your three-dimensional body through the fourth-dimensional river of time. While you cannot go upstream of the river, you can steer your life around dangerous obstacles and ultimately towards one of the shores you will land on when your body dies. It is called making decisions. It is my contention that only human beings, and maybe whales and dolphins, are implanted with this soul, spirit, ego. All other animals, plants, and fungi do not have this characteristic. They cannot steer their lives through this river of time. They are at the mercy of the river, its obstacles, and everything else flowing through the river with it. My dog is at my mercy. If I decide that it is time for him to be put down, then he will be put down. His trip in the river will be done. Curiously, while humans can steer themselves, few embrace the opportunity to captain their own lives due to fear of potential rough waters or a lack of understanding of the river. Those who conquer their fear and ignorance and seek to steer their own lives would be foolhardy to do so without a map. The sixth dimension, consensus reality. Of all the things that are possible, some undergo the formality of occurring while others remain in the realm of potential. It is possible that Colby Covington will win the UFC welterweight belt in 2021. That potential possibility might be realized, but that comes at the expense of all the competing possibilities of the other fighters. Only one will be consensually realized as the champion. All the hopes of the other fighters retreat into the realm of unrealized potential. The world is the sixth dimension. It houses all of the five-dimensional consciousnesses and is the field in which only one of all the potential outcomes is allowed. I feel that a more accurate word for the world around us is consensus. In order for something to be real, we all have to agree on it. It is those things that we consensually agree upon that are the sixth dimension. For instance, if I am sitting on a chair, anyone who sees me agrees that I am on a chair. The chair is a chair, no argument. But if I make a statement such as, Justin Trudeau is the greatest politician of all time, this is not a consensus. This is an idea that dwells in the mind, and it is not possible for everyone to agree upon. Those who do agree can create or place this idea or construct in the imagination for others to consider. This idea of collective thoughts is the group mind, or what I like to call the imagination, which is the seventh dimension. Soon this dimension will become more important to humanity than the sixth. The seventh dimension, the imagination. Not all mouth noises carry meaning. But coordinated mouth noise, which we call language, does carry meaning. Thus, language is a type of telepathy. With little mouth noises, I can paint images in someone's mind. These sounds elicit imagery in the listener that one sees in the back of their minds. It is worth noting that most of our metaphors for understanding have a visual component. A way of describing one of the effects of technology, particularly the internet, is that it is externalizing the interior. That is to say, today most people meet someone's mind before they meet their body. On social media, we post our residual self-image, that is, we post our best pictures of ourselves, the ones we want ourselves to look like. Oftentimes we meet someone online, and then we meet them in person and remark that they look different in their photos. The video gaming community is creating artificial environments that exist only in the imagination. But with the advent of certain technologies, these artificial spaces can become virtually real. Humanity's future is the Matrix. I believe that where we are going with technology will be the development of a landscape of infinite gardens of the imagination. A new technology will be developed that will be able to capture our thoughts as a sort of mind camera and retranslate that image as a choreographed sequence of stimuli that are made available to the individual. It is in this manner we can begin to participate in the landscape of each other's imaginations. I speculate much on the implications of this new landscape. There is much to say, but I feel that the two most important are, 1. It is here that everyone is exposed for their true nature, positive, negative, north, south, good, evil. 2. A tool will be developed within this technology that will allow us to interface with non-corporeal spirits and see them for the first time like one would see an invisible man that had a can of paint spilled on him. With this tool, we will begin to get an understanding of our final destiny. This is the place our spirits migrate after our death. I refer to it as the 8th dimension, but I prefer to use Terence McKenna's vernacular and call it the ecology of souls. The 8th dimension. The ecology of souls. In our discussions surrounding death and dying, we have been asking the wrong question. It should not be, is there life after death, but rather, is there consciousness after death? The body is the placenta of the soul. The way that your body manifests and grows inside your mother's placenta for 9 months is a metaphor for the way your soul manifests and grows inside your body for 90 years. At the end of your life, your spirit/soul is born into this ecology of souls. This is where God and other spiritual giants reside. Understanding the 8th dimension has been difficult. To this point, our glimpses into it have come through religious, occult, and psychedelic studies. There have been many references and testimonials from people who have been close to death. The archetype of a river and being met by a relative is frequently mentioned. Beyond this, I have found few compelling descriptions of its nature. I would like to offer some insights I have had into the characteristics of the place we all inevitably go upon our death. It is a timeless experience that appears to have a hierarchy. Even though timeless, it seems to be dynamic. There is a dual nature that sanctifies or recognizes the soul of the individual spirit. The individual spirit is identified/represented by their emotional character. A life of intense and diverse emotional experiences while in the human form molds a soul capable of being recognized and placed close to the action. The memories, experiences, and relationships of your life are foundational in establishing your place in eternity. The meaning of life is to create a robust portfolio of deep meaning experiences and memories that will set the tone of the ecology that is your soul's destiny. Do you intimidate, scare, hurt, steal, cheat, hate, ignore, fear, doubt, dwell, regret, resent, covet, punish? Do you see the vice in a person? Do you encourage, facilitate, recognize, sanctify, appreciate, listen, think, lead, contribute, help, give? Do you see the virtue in a person? Do you think it matters? Final thought. The universe is electric. The canvas on which the 8 dimensions are painted is a field or ocean of electrons. Even deep space is not a true vacuum. There is still a sparse matrix of electrons which is referred to as a plasma field. The number infinity comes to mind when thinking about the number of electrons in the galaxy. Electrophysicists have a much deeper understanding of our universe than the astrophysicists. My most succinct attempt at describing it is as follows. An infinite number of magnetic fields of every conceivable size are powered by visible and invisible electric currents of every imaginable intensity. These are called Birkeland currents, named after their discoverer, Christian Birkeland. These magnetic fields create a type of vacuum that draws any matter into its vicinity and locks it into place at the center of the magnetic field. If I took a guess, I would say that the shape of an atom and the shape of the universe look the same. This. The excellent YouTube series The Primer Fields is where this shape was brought to my attention and should be reconsidered as a serious alternative to current thinking in physics. The tendencies of electromagnetic phenomenon appear bizarre and almost alien from our consensus world perspective, while in actuality, if there is an actual, electricity is the foundation of all of these dimensions. There is much fruit in turning our focus to the lessons of electricity. I contend that these lessons will provide us a deeper insight into the ecology of souls.